another concern, Lepore, right
Mm-hmm.
now is Jack Campbell,
Yes.
who has not been playing well. I'll just go over the numbers quickly.
You have
Over
to.
his last 12 games since December 1st, he has a good record. He's 8-2-2, but he now has an 898 save percentage and a 3.12 goals against average. So a sub 900 save percentage and a goals against average above 3 over his last 12 games. He has not looked sharp.
Yeah.
His numbers are taking a bit of a dive after he had an amazing start to the season and was incredible through 30 games in the playoffs last season. Are you concerned about the play of the Leafs' number one goalie, Jack Campbell?
Unlike the Leafs and the whole topic of them blowing leads, I am concerned about Jack Campbell and his performance as of late. And I'll tell you why. You mentioned earlier that it's going to take something catastrophic for these standings to really change in the Eastern Conference. We're going to need Jack Campbell in the playoffs to be very good. Had someone asked me last year about the playoff structure, and by structure, I mean like the path the Leafs would need to take to get deep into the playoffs, I would have looked at Montreal, even though they beat us, and I would have looked at even Winnipeg / Edmonton, whoever we were going to play, and I would have seen those series as, from a goalie perspective, just don't lose it for us. If you're fine or solid, we should win this series. Just don't lose the series for us. This year, with who it looks like we're going to play, no, we're going to need our goalie to be good. If you get average goaltending against the Tampa Bay Lightning, you're going to lose. Florida, the way they're playing, you're going to lose. Boston, oh my God, if we get average goaltending, it's like sound the alarm bells. So I am concerned. And maybe it's unfair to Jack Campbell because of the structure of the division right now and who we're going to play in the playoffs. But I assure you, man, those series, like whoever plays who in the East, it's going to come down to nothing. It's going to come down to absolutely nothing. So if you have your goalie not playing at his best at the right time, you're out. You're out. So I'm freaking out a little bit. Like, I mean, there's still the Leafs have played 40 games. So
40 games on the nose. So
yeah, we have a lot of time to correct it and see how his numbers adjust over the next 42 games. But yeah, I'm nervous. And Bruno, it's been kind of predictable with how well he started the season, to be fair. I mean, we knew he was going to go down, and we've talked about that on this show. Things were going to adjust, but that doesn't mean that when it does happen, we're not on pins and needles, kind of waiting for the time for it to stop. Right. And we don't want to see a crazy crash. Then it affects his confidence and such. But how are you on this one? Are you scared at all? Or again, is it the matter of like the Leafs are winning, so I don't really care?
I'm definitely a little bit concerned, but I think the thing that makes me the most concerned is that the guy behind him is also playing like crap right now, Peter Mrazek, which we will get into a little later in the show. But I'm a little bit concerned with Jack Campbell, as well as he's played since he's put on a Toronto Maple Leafs sweater, and he has been incredible for the most part. You know, he hasn't played more than 31 games in a season. He's never had a full starter's workload. And these are things that a lot of the Jack Campbell naysayers and Leafs haters, if you want to call them that, these are the things they were pointing to about Jack Campbell.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We saw it over 22 games, and we saw it in the playoffs against Montreal, where he essentially outplayed Carey Price when you look at the numbers, but he's never done it with a full starter's workload. He hasn't played 50 to 60 games in a season. He hasn't proven that he can do that over a full season. So I'm not saying he can't do that. I still think he's very talented, but maybe we're seeing, who knows, a little bit of fatigue. He's not as sharp, but I still believe in Jack Campbell. I think he's going to be fine. I think, I say this almost on every show, right? This is a really good team we're in the middle of the season. These aren't really important games right now. I mean, they are important to a certain extent because, as you talked about, Lepore, every point is going to matter, especially in this Atlantic division, which is an absolute buzzsaw at the top. But we're going to need Jack Campbell to play well come playoff time, because you're right, man. You can't have subpar goaltending if you're going to run into Tampa, Florida, or Boston in the first round, because that is going to be a recipe for disaster. And that's going to put even more pressure on the offense, put more pressure on Matthews and Marner, who have their own demons to deal with come playoff time.
Can't wait for that.
The Leafs might need William Nylander to put on his cape again, like he did last season against Montreal in the playoffs. But I'm definitely a little concerned, but I'm not going to start, getting too worried, or I'm not going to start, saying, put Peter Mrazek in and see if he can find his game and let him run with it. There's no way I'm going that far yet.
Even a bit, Bruno, like maybe give Mrazek like a few games in a row.
I think Mrazek definitely needs to play more than he has. Like, the guy's only played 6 games this year, and obviously he's been injured and he hasn't been healthy for basically the entire season. But you still need Jack Campbell to be your guy. I would like to see Mrazek get more games and maybe give Campbell a little bit more rest. But at the end of the day, both of these goalies have to figure their shit out. Yeah.
I mean, is there an argument that like that's what Mrazek needs? Because like I'm playing
for him to kind of regain his form.
Yeah. Like guys, like the games have been sporadic altogether, let alone for me. I've been hurt, whatever. I go in, I don't play for 10 days. I got to come in. You know what I mean? Just weird. So
I would agree with that, because he's barely been playing, right? And it's not like Mrazek has been like a number one goalie every year of his career and playing 60 games. He's been a guy that's been platooning, especially for the last little while playing in Carolina. But
there was a lot of
he's got to play more than
on.
6 friggin' games. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, there was a lot of hype early on. I actually remember, on the Mrazek topic, a good friend of mine is a very high level goalie coach, and he's worked with NHL guys in the past. And like when Mrazek came in, they thought they had Carey Price based on talent. Yeah, the Red Wings thought they legitimately had like a future number one goalie in the NHL. And I mean, obviously he hasn't worked out that way, but I mean, like say that about a lot of goalies, I guess.
Yeah, I think both of them obviously have to be better. Mrazek needs more playing time, and Campbell, you would hope that when the Leafs start to really gear up for the playoffs, that he's going to find his game and play like we saw him play not only last season, but at the beginning of this season.